So there are 3 things that I have on the list of things to do today, okay? Number 1, I want to head over to Magic Kingdom. There's been some updates to the Emporium. I know we talked about that not too long ago. I showed you some of what they had done thus far, but they've done even more, so we're gonna go check that out. Number 2, we gotta go check out the Grand Floridian lobby because construction walls have gone up there as well, and I've got some updates for you regarding that. Also, I've been having a little bit of trouble recently. There's something I've been having a hard time with, and I wanna chat with you about that too. So that's the plan. You ready to go? Let's do it. Now you may have noticed that we started our day here at Disney Springs. And since we're gonna be spending time at Magic Kingdom and on like the monorail loop, you might be wondering why I'd go that route. Short answer is, I don't wanna deal with Magic Kingdom parking today. I just don't feel like it. And I know that I can catch a bus from here at Disney Springs to any of the Walt Disney World resort hotels, which is very convenient. And you know, some of you may have heard about this like hack in the past. It's, you know, something a lot of people like to suggest if you want to skip out on having to pay for parking at the theme parks, but it's really not a great choice in my opinion. By the way, here's the what is it called? The directory. So we know we want to head to the Contemporary. I'll explain why here in a second. So that's number 7, it's right there. Disney Springs might have free parking, but it doesn't open first thing in the morning. It doesn't open until 10. So buses don't even start to run out here to Disney Springs until then. And then of course you have to wait for a bus and then take that bus to a resort, then get from that resort to whatever park you want to go to, which in some cases is walking distance, so it's really convenient. But still, you're eating up a lot of time doing this versus just paying the $30 and parking at one of the Walt Disney World theme parks, you know? So not really the best hack, but let's time it. So it is 10:01. See how long it takes us to get to Magic Kingdom via the Contemporary, which we can walk to Magic Kingdom from. So that's why we're going this route. All right, so it is currently 10:30 on the dot. Just got off the bus. Oh, monorail right there. And now we are walking to Magic Kingdom. It's not a long walk at all. So that's why I opted to go this route today. Just didn't want to walk through the parking lot, you know? And it has taken us a bit to get here, but it was all sitting in a nice air-conditioned bus, so I can't complain. Also, I just said hello to some of you guys. I actually think you might be sitting on that bus right now. And I just want to take another second to say, hey, thanks for watching. Glad you're here. But all right, let's skedaddle on over to Magic Kingdom and take a look at the Emporium. 10:35, made it through security, and we got caught at the crosswalk. So like it took us more time to get here than it ought to have. Still not at Magic Kingdom yet though. So check back in here in a second. I think it's gonna take us another 3 minutes. We'll see how it goes. So it was about 10:38 when we finally tapped into Magic Kingdom, made our way through the turnstiles, and we were standing on Main Street USA, which isn't too bad at all. It's honestly one of the reasons that I think that Contemporary and Bay Lake Tower are a fantastic option if you're gonna be spending most of your vacation at Magic Kingdom, you know? Because the walk is just, it makes things so much easier and it gives you a little bit of freedom. You don't have to rely on Disney transportation. It's really nice. But anyway, we're here with a goal in mind, and that goal is to check out the Emporium. So let's make our way in and take a look at the situation as it stands inside this space. So the first thing that catches my eye as we enter the Emporium from this particular entrance at the head of Main Street is the construction walls that have made their way up in this section. So this used to be a couple registers. There was like a area to queue and some merchandise shelves. I'm not sure if they're going to be removing that or if they're going to just be updating it. So we'll keep you posted, but let's make our way down toward the other end because that's where there were a lot of construction walls that have come down, and I want to check that out. On our way over there though, I'm not a huge fan of the work being done here at the Emporium. I've talked about this before, so I'm not going to bore you with a lengthy reason as to why that is the case, but the long and short of it is I feel like it's a little half-hearted. It feels a little bland and blah, a little bit bargain bin to me. So I'll put a link in the description if you want to hear like a full length reason as to why I'm not a fan. But let's get back to taking a look at this space. This is the area that I want to say most recently had the construction walls come down. As you can see, it's brighter, it's lighter. We do have new flooring in this area, which is detailed, which is nice, though, like I said before, it feels a little bit bargain bin to me. And that theme kind of dissipates as we make our way up toward the ceiling. Making our way over this direction, this is the area that we've seen before. It was the first section to have the construction walls come down. So we're not going to focus too much time here because, what else is there to see? We've seen this before. But there are some other updates I want to look at. But first, I do want to take another look over in this area. Off to our right is Casey's, so you can see the updates from another angle. But if we kind of come around the corner, this is the exit, not the Casey's exit, but the one that exits onto Main Street. If you guys know what I'm talking about, we have seen the construction walls come down here as well. Now this used to all be shelving, so there was merchandise along all of these walls, but it looks like they have replaced it with some registers, and we do have some pictures and frames on the wall, which I think they're hoping will carry the theme of this space. They are a little hard to see though, so unless you're like zoomed in or right on top of them, they're just frames. So there it is, the Emporium in all of its 2025 glory, which, like I said before, I'm not a huge fan of for a long list of reasons, but credit where credit's due. It is brighter in there. It feels more open, not only because of the color, but because they knocked down some walls, made it a more open space overall. And so I think that that's a really appealing choice for a lot of people, especially people who like to use this as like an escape route after the fireworks. Now, I haven't done that just yet, so I don't know how this actually looks in practice, but if you have, let me know. Has this been an update, or, is it mostly aesthetic? Now, if I had to guess, I would say that this is going to extend not only through this side of Main Street, but on the other side as well. No information on that as of yet, but we'll keep you posted. But anyway, the next order of business is to go check out the Grand Floridian, because there's been a lot of work happening over there, and I want to talk to you about something on our way, if you don't mind. So let's get going. So how earlier I said that there's something I've been having a little bit of trouble with? I want to get into that as we make our way over to the Grand Floridian. Now, as some of you who have been following along with us for a while may know, we've been having some mixed feelings about Walt Disney World recently. We even talked about this the other day when we were discussing our annual pass and how we're not going to keep our Incredipass and we're going down to the Pixie Pass. The long and short of it is the experience we're having here at Walt Disney World is just a shadow of the experience that it once was. And that is something that I'm honestly having trouble with. Not because of the nostalgia factor, I'm very well aware that things change over time and nothing lasts forever, but from the perspective of someone who is here with the goal of helping you figure out how to do this better, helping you figure out how to make this work in a way that works best for you and your family, I have a really, really hard time with the way things are being done. I've been thinking a lot about how exactly to articulate what it is that I want to say here, but the best I can do is say that I don't know how I'm supposed to believe in a thing that doesn't believe in itself. Honestly, I don't know how any of us are supposed to believe in a thing that doesn't believe in itself. And with every passing day, with every new experience, it feels more and more true that even Disney doesn't believe in who they are or what they're doing. And I could go into a long list of examples as to why I feel this way. It's not just speculation on my behalf or, me having this conversation with you for the sake of drama, because I'm not interested in that type of thing. That's not why I'm here. But every single time we go and do something, it seems like there's something else reinforcing that this is not the place that it used to be. And of course, again, everything changes, nothing lasts forever, but it's amazing to see the dip in customer service and quality. I got a great example of this from the other day, actually, over at Epcot. They just recently opened up a preview center over there for DVC, a DVC preview center in the Canada Pavilion, which, yeah, I got a lot to say about that, but I didn't say it on the channel. I didn't talk about it at all. And the reason is because I was thrown for a loop, which doesn't happen all that often, but every once in a while. I went over there. It was like the day after it opened, and there were some cast members outside, more specifically like management slash suits, as I like to call them. And I walked up and I was like, hey, I was wondering what time you guys open. And the cast member, the management cast member guy, looked me square in the face and he said, oh, this is just a sales office. Seriously? This thing that was being hyped up on social media, brand new, just opened yesterday. He was like so disinterested and didn't even want me to be interested either, because it was just a DVC sales office. This is just one example of what I mean when I say that like it doesn't even feel like they believe in what it is they're doing. And if they don't believe, I don't know how I'm supposed to. And I don't know how I'm supposed to communicate that to you either. Now, I always keep things real here. I tell it like it is so that you know what to expect, good, bad, or otherwise. But I don't want to be constantly leaning into negativity. I also don't want to be sugarcoating things either. And that kind of makes me feel like a rock in a hard place. So, you know, that's something I've been trying to navigate around and work through. Anyway, we're about to reach the Grand Floridian, so let's pop on over. Now, we just stepped off the monorail, okay? So I haven't even taken a look at the lobby yet. We're gonna be seeing this for the first time together, and we're getting an aerial view. So let's take a look at the situation here at the Grand Floridian. So there's the monorail. Let's take a look up and over. Definitely a lot of construction walls here. We've got this big area right here, which used to be a big bird cage. Pretty iconic bird cage too, but that's been removed. I don't think it's coming back. More on that here in a second. And then back here, see, that area is a little sitting area that had been closed for quite some time and then kind of just opened back up again. So here's the overhead view of the Grand Floridian. But I do want to head downstairs and take a look because, as I can hear, there's definitely other construction going on. So I think that there are some walls that are right below us. And the front desk has kind of transitioned over to these little tables. But let's pull off for a second because I want to let you know what the situation is here. You know, fill you in with some details that I think you want to know. So there's been a lot of work happening here at the Grand Floridian in the past couple of years. And there's been a lot of scuttlebutt about what's going on in the lobby. There was a time when like something was happening or it started happening or they were like storing materials over here, and then that changed, and so like people were like, what's going on with the lobby? Like there's been a lot that people have been talking about and been unsure about, but it definitely seems like Disney's moving forward with work on the lobby right now, which is going to include a bar in the lobby. I mean, we probably could have saw this coming. Disney's been leaning into the lounges, but they are going to be adding a bar, which I presume is going to be where that bird cage was, you know, that big area that's currently behind construction walls. And I've got some feelings on that. I've got some thoughts on just leaning into this constantly, you know, like lounges, bars, and everything. But I'm not about to dig into that right now. Here's what you need to know though. If you are thinking about planning a trip to Walt Disney World during the holiday season, especially if you're looking forward to some of the classic holiday offerings here at the Grand Floridian, the gingerbread house is not going to be happening this year. No, probably because of the construction, which is really disappointing. I know a lot of people are upset about that, and we'll just have to see if they put something in its place, you know, like something else that's very Christmassy during the holiday season, but at least right now, that's what we know. So yeah, that is a look at the Emporium, a look at what's been going on at the Grand Floridian, and a little insight into what's been going on with us here on our end. You know, there are always going to be ebbs and flows with everything, especially when it comes to our feelings on certain things, which has been a big part of today's discussion, you know, and we're working through it. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to work through that than others, but we appreciate you being here. We appreciate you hanging in there with us, and we appreciate your words of encouragement. You know, anytime we run into something that's less than great. You guys are always there, kind of giving us a little bit of positivity, which is a huge help. So thanks for that. But for now, I think it's time to head out. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Of course, I want to hear your thoughts on everything we discussed, so do your thing in the comments, and yeah, see you next time. Till then, bye.